close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Daniel Bailey TV. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. First and foremost, I want to start this video with a couple of thank yous. But before I get into that, do remember to hit the like button. Do remember to hit the subscribe button. Firstly, I want to thank you all for the views on the Newcastle review. I only just recorded that after the day after the game, and I was just basically giving my opinions on Arteta, but it's gone mad, absolutely gone crazy. I think we're about nearly at 800 views on that video, so massive respect to you all for that. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been getting. You guys have been giving me, so thank you for that. Also, I just want to say thank you to all the people that have subscribed off the back of that video and off the back of that phone-in show that I did on the Gooner Talk. So welcome to the channel, all the new subscribers, and thank you to all the regulars that have been here for a long time. So thank you for that. Listen, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Everton game, last game of the season. So I'm going to be covering that. And then at the end of the video, I am going to be answering some of your questions. I asked you to send in some of your questions under the community tab post. A few of you have done that. So at the end of this video, I'm going to be answering some of those questions. Listen, Arsenal-Everton, let's get into it. The last game of the season. Essentially, the way I'm looking at this game is it's a dead rubber. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at it. It's a dead rubber game. And the only way it becomes not a dead rubber is if Norwich do a madness against Spurs. That's the only way this game will be interesting. And this is just the way I'm looking at it, especially after the horrific performance against Newcastle and, having our Champions League hopes dashed. This game, I know mathematically it's still possible, and that's the kind of way I'm approaching this game, because if I approach it any other way, I'm just going to be disappointed. Listen, I want to stress, because I know a lot of you will jump in the comments and say, that I'm holding on to unrealistic possibilities. So I want to stress this before you guys do jump in the comments, that I don't actually think Norwich will beat Spurs. I don't think that'll happen, and I think we will end up in the Europa League. But there's a slim, albeit a very slim, possibility that could happen. So that's the way I'm approaching this game. And, obviously Everton are safe as well. So they're not really going to be up for it. They're shit anyway, aren't they? Let's be real. They've already sealed their stay in the Premier League. They haven't got anything to play for in this game, so they're not really going to be trying to fight for anything. Listen, obviously they're going to be wanting to win the game, but there's not going to be that added pressure of, if they lose, they don't stay up, so they're already safe. So I think it's going to be one of them games where it's going to be the last game feel, where Arsenal are going to try and obviously win the game because of that outside possibility that we could finish in the top four, depending on what Norwich do. So they're going to be trying to win the game, and then obviously Everton, they're safe anyway, so they're going to be essentially on the beach. And obviously we've got mad injuries, haven't we? We've just got crazy injuries. Tomiyasu limped off. Gabriel, obviously, is he going to be risking this game? There's obviously not that same pressure on Sunday that there was against Newcastle. So is Arteta going to take a risk with him? Obviously, Rob Holding's back after getting the 2 yellows against Tottenham. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of back line he goes with, because it is the last game of the season. There's nothing else to play for after that. Once this game's done, that's it. The season's finished. And then we go into the madness of transfer season, don't we? So is Arteta going to just look on it and go, do you know what? Yes, there's still a possibility that we can get into the top four, but it's highly unlikely. So he's not really going to want to risk more injuries. Having said that, I want to flip it because it is the last game of the season. So he could be thinking, listen, even if players do pick up injuries, they've got the whole bloody summer to recover, haven't they? So he could be trying to go out with one last hurrah when it comes to trying to push for that top four. But it's out of our hands now. It's out of our hands. We handed the initiative to Tottenham. We handed the keys to the Champions League to Tottenham, which I'm still angry about. I've got to be honest. I am still absolutely livid that we had it in our hands and then we just rolled over with this tickle my belly attitude and gone, there you go, you have it. So it is what it is. We just have to move on. It's likely that we're going to be in the Europa League next season. Well, it is. It is the Europa League, unless barring that miracle from Norwich, which, let's be honest, I don't think any Arsenal fan is expecting. In terms of the team lineup, this is where it gets a little bit tricky for me because, like I said, we have picked up a few injuries after the Newcastle game. At the time of recording, I don't think Arteta has done his press conference yet, or if he has, then I obviously haven't seen the quotes, so I can't comment on team news. But assuming, and this is just assuming, that Arteta goes with the last hurrah, I'm going to go with the back line of Cedric, Gabriel, White, and Tavares. Then I'm going to go with Granit Xhaka, El Neni. And then further forward, I'm going to go with Odegaard. And then I'm going to go with Martinelli on the right, and Nketiah down the middle, and Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side. So that's what I'm going to go with for this game. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if that prediction is totally wrong, depending on team news. Like I said, at the time of recording, I've got no news about the press conference. So apologies for that. Apologies for not checking that out before I actually started to record this video. But that's what I'm predicting that he will go, because I do actually think that he will cling on to that slim possibility that Norwich could overturn Spurs and we might be able to sneak in at the last day. Listen, anything's possible. I sit here and say that it's unlikely, and it is. It is highly unlikely. But anything's possible. Anything is possible. The last day of the season, anything can happen. So listen, we just have to hope. And obviously, if we can go into that game with a realistic, I'll start that again. If we can go into the game with a realistic expectation that it's not going to happen, and it does happen, then that's the best way of approaching this game. Me personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to end up in the Europa League, and I think it's going to be 100% Europa League football that we're playing next season. So that's it for the Arsenal-Everton preview. Let me know what you think down there in the comments below. Like I said, the last video, the Newcastle review, was absolutely insane. You guys have been putting your comments in, and we're almost at 50 likes on that video, and we're almost at 800, 900 views on that video. So thank you once again for the mad support. Let's try and kick on and get that on every single video. Listen, it's a madness. But yeah, do hit the like button. Let me know in the comments section below about that Everton game on Sunday. Right, I did say at the beginning of the video that I will do a Q&A. I asked you guys to send in some of your questions so that I could answer them, and you guys, true to form, have sent me in some of your questions. So I'm going to start with Bargav's question. He asked, why do Arsenal keep doing he actually asked 3 questions in one. So he asked, why do Arsenal keep doing this? What are the bare minimums next season? I'm going to answer those questions. Your third question, I'm going to answer it. A lot of people have asked the same question, so I'm going to address it when I address other people's questions, Bargav. But to answer your first point, why do Arsenal keep doing this to us? I can't answer that, mate, to be honest. I think we've got ourselves into such a position where the fan base expectations have been lowered due to the ownership's running of the club, due to the way the club's been run over the last decade. And I think it's a case of the club's not meeting our expectations and not meeting our ambitions. And we're heavily invested in our club, so that's the answer into why Arsenal keep doing this to us. Your next point was, what are the bare minimums for next season? The bare minimums has got to be Champions League football. There's no point in saying otherwise. Listen, he's got to get Champions League football, depending on the fact that we have a good summer, and I'm hoping that we do have a good summer. But the minimum is Champions League football. And then anything beyond that, like maybe a good cup run, a good trophy, that's got to be the bare minimums for next season. I know there's going to be people out there going, well, we should aim higher for next season, but it's just pointless. It's fruitless. We should aim for Champions League football, and we've got to get over the line. Next season, I do look at it this way. If it's Europa League football that we're in, which it's likely to be, barring that Norwich miracle, we are going to play Europa League football. Now, the way I look at it next season is we're going to have 2 bites of the cherry. So we're going to have the league position. We can aim for that top 4. And if that fails, which I fully expect it to, like it did this season, but you never know. But if that fails, then we've got the Europa League to fall back on, because if we win the Europa League, that is another way in to the Champions League. So next season, we've got 2 bites of the cherry in terms of getting back into the Champions League. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next season. But that, for me, is the bare minimums. That for me is a must, Champions League football. Next question comes from the Irish Beast. He asks, what are the positions we need to strengthen in? He goes on to say about the striker being important, but what other positions do you feel we need strengthening, and what other positions are we short in? It's a very good question, because obviously you highlighted there in your question the striker position. I think that's the most important thing. We need 2 new strikers. Lacazette and Nketiah is going to disappear. Lacazette's not going to sign a new deal, and I think anyway, even if he was looking at signing a new deal, I think we should move on from Lacazette, because he hasn't really been doing it this season. And Nketiah, it's unlikely that he's going to sign a new deal. So I think the striker positions is most important. Having said that, I do think we need a bit more quality in the midfield. I've got to be honest. We need someone to go with Thomas Partey of the same quality as Thomas Partey, maybe like a Yuri Tielemans. I know that we've been linked to Ruben Neves. I actually think Tielemans is a better option than Ruben Neves. I don't actually think Neves would fit this system that Arteta likes to play. But definitely someone like Yuri Tielemans would be a good option. And me personally, I would look at the fullback positions as well, because I know we got Tierney and I know we got Tomiyasu, but when you strip those away, if either of them gets injured, who have we got to come in? You got Cedric and Tavares. Let me tell you, Cedric ain't good enough to play the backup left back. Right back, sorry. And Tavares, listen, I'm a big fan of Tavares, but he struggled. You can see that he's clearly struggling and that he needs a bit more time to learn. He's still a young player, so we need a backup for Kieran Tierney, because I do think that's cost us at times this season with Tierney's prolonged absences through injury. So we need to look at the fullback positions. Obviously, I'm not too concerned about the central defence. Gabriel White obviously is the first choice pairing, but then we do have William Saliba coming into the side, hopefully. So I'm not too worried. I think that's an ideal trio at central defence. Gabriel, White, and Saliba. Providing Saliba does come back and providing Saliba gets a chance next season. But with Europa League football, I think he's going to get a chance. And I think he will come back to Arsenal. And I do think he will be integrated into the first team. Next question comes from Chrissy B. He asks, apologies in advance, Chrissy B, as well. I'm not going to try and pronounce your surname because A, I'll get it wrong, and B, I don't want to get it wrong. So you asked, will Arsenal ever be great again? Yes or no? It's pretty straightforward. I think we will be great again. I just think it comes down to a combination of variables. So it comes down to the fans putting more pressure on the owners. Listen, the owners ain't going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? The owners ain't going absolutely anywhere. So we need to just hold on to that. And we need to put pressure on them. We need to put pressure on them. They've said that they're not going anywhere. They've said that they're not selling. So we need to just put as much pressure on them as we possibly can as a fan base to make them be more ambitious. Because leaving the owners to their own devices, is not going to work because we know that they'll just revert back to type. So do I believe Arsenal can be great again? I do. I think it comes down to that. I think it comes down to pressure from the fan base. And listen, money talks at the end of the day, doesn't it? So if it all goes belly up and the fans start emptying the stadium again, they're going to have to listen because above everything else, the Cronkies might be crap owners, but they're business people at the end of the day, aren't they? They're business people. So if it's hurting the business, then they're going to sit up and take notice. That's the only way the Cronkies will ever take notice. And I say the Cronkies because it is essentially Josh Cronkies' project, isn't it? Stan doesn't have anything to do with the Arsenal project. It's essentially Josh Cronky. So I think Josh Cronky will sit up and take notice if stadiums start emptying again. But in answer to your question, do I think Arsenal will be great again? Yes, I do. I think it's just going to take time. And I hate saying this because I get frustrated with it at times, but it's just being patient, isn't it? And it's the problem you've got is that while a section of fan base is accepting this, it won't be a problem because the Cronkies will home in on those section of the fan base and they won't see a problem. So unless the fan base unite, then I'm afraid it's more of the same, guys. It's not ideal. Do I accept it? Absolutely not. But the reality is we are where we are. Question from Padridge. He says, how long do you think the Cronkies will persist with Arteta? And this actually comes into Bargav's final point as well about how long how long can this go on for? And I think somebody else, Mr. B as well, put a similar question. So I'm going to answer this all in one. So how long do I think the Cronkies will stick with Arteta? I think that depends, and it depends on a couple of things. It depends on how good the summer transfer window is. If we have a good summer transfer window and then we have a poor start to the season where we end up being out of every cup competition, then we end up being, eliminated from the top 4 race because it's going to be harder, isn't it, next season? We know that Man United have just appointed Erik ten Hag. They're going to strengthen. That Spurs are obviously going to have the carrot of Champions League football. So they're going to strengthen. Obviously, Man City and Liverpool, there's not even no point in talking about them because they're miles ahead. Chelsea are going to strengthen. So that top 4 race becomes harder, which is why I'm so angry that we didn't get there this season. So if we're out of the top four race and then we're out of every cup competition and we end up getting knocked out of the Europa League, I think Arteta has to go, because there's no more excuses. There's no more excuses now, but people are still trying to make excuses for him. I hear a lot from fans. They go, "Oh, we need to give him the transfer window." This guy's had 2 transfer windows already, and he ain't done fuck all. But next season, there's going to be no excuses because he will have had the transfer window. He will have spent the money he wants to spend. So next season, it's do or die for Arteta. How long that continues, it depends on Arteta's performances. And it also depends on the fans, because if the fans start getting restless, then, the Cronkies will have to act. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Listen, let's finish this season first, and then let's go into the summer transfer window, get the players we need, because we need an awful lot of players. I'm going to do a video after the end of the season. I'm going to do a video on all the transfer players that we need to get, the players that we need to get rid of, and then the players that we come in. So look out for that. I will be dropping that sometime next week. Also, I'll be dropping my end of season review. Do check out that. Look out for that next week. I'm going to try and get a few guests on for that. So do look out for that. But in an answer to your question, Bargav, Mr. B, and Padridge, I think it depends on Arteta, and I think it depends on a lot of variables as to how long this can continue. That's it, guys. That is it for today's video. That is it for the Arsenal-Everton preview. Let me know what you think about the game on Sunday. That is it for the Q&A part as well. So let me know what you think about the Q&A. Leave it all down there in the comment section below. Please do hit the like button. It's so important. It helps the channel grow. And please do hit that subscribe button. It really does help the channel grow as well. We are 6 subscribers away from 2,300. So listen, we're closing in on that next milestone. And I say we is because we're all doing it together. We're a community here, aren't we? I bring you the content and we all discuss and have conversations. So yeah, listen, big up to everybody for your support. I really appreciate that. That's it for today, guys. 2 more days of stress-free. And then we got the last game of the season on Sunday. All take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. And come on, you Gunners.